The regulator, Ryan, not surprising that networks that air endless Big Bang Theory reruns and ridiculousness are free-falling in value. Cable TV is depressing. It is. It really is becoming, I just, what's depressing is the amount of money that I'm spending on streaming now. Holy crap. In the beginning it was like, well, this is pretty cool. It's really cheap. You get some good stuff. Now it's like, I thought I was going to save money in the long run. I'm not. I'm spending more, but there's some great stuff available, vis-a-vis streaming. And that's the problem. There's some really, really amazing content available. Mrs. B and I are just now getting into a series called Outlanders. And I know it's been around for a long time. I know we're late to the party, but wow, is it good? It is so well written, produced. It's really, really cool. I'm absolutely in love with that series. You know how much that series cost to produce? When that series began, when it got more expensive as time went on, $10 million an episode. Yep. $10 million an episode. And it went on to become more expensive as it became successful. But that's the quality of television that's available on streaming platforms, and cable cannot compete with it. Sports, news. It's the only thing that'll compete. Unless you're Warner Brothers Discovery and you're CNN and nobody watches that. Isn't that ironic? This news divisions of most networks, studios, the news division was the profit center. The news division allowed you to play in other forms of entertainment because the news division was so profitable that it could float other divisions of your company. At least that was the case in Turner. Now it's a financial sinkhole. They can't even make news work. Just bizarre. But in cable, if you look at the top 10 in cable, it's typically either going to be sports. Predominantly, the top 10 is going to be news and news-related opinion shows. But yeah, regular programming. Network every once in a while, ABC, CBS, NBC, every once in a while they'll come up with something that's pretty interesting, but it's rare. But if you look at the streaming platforms and just the amount of amazing high quality variety, no matter what you're into, it's quite phenomenal. But it's definitely, I think cable TV is going to be the rotary phone of the future when it comes to entertainment. It'll always be around. Somebody's going to have one. It'll always be there, but man, glad I'm not in that business. It's one of the reasons I was glad to get out of the television industry when I did back around 2015, 2000. It was about 2017, really, 2016. A series called Dope Man, I think, was the last project that Jason and I produced for A&E television. Tough business. Josh Henney, again, thoughts on NXT going on the road to Chicago and St. Louis live against AEW to start on CW. Oh, is that happening? Super Dave, is that the real thing there?
Yep, I believe that's legit.
Uh-oh.
Head on. Head to head.
Okay. Live NXT against live AEW. That's going to be fun. Wow. Can you imagine the whining that we're going to hear out of Tony Khan and company after that? The Challenger brand. I love that. The Challenger brand. It's like if you own a hot dog stand in New York City, like down the street from a Ruth Chris Steakhouse, and you try to tell everybody you're the Challenger brand to Ruth Chris. I mean, you're serving beef. They're serving beef. They're only a block away. Same thing, right? You're the Challenger brand to Ruth Chris. Oh, this is going to be fun. When is this supposed to happen? Do you know, Super Dave?
I'm looking up details right now.
It's got to be soon, right? Pretty soon.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's till after the first of the year, if I remember correctly. Doesn't matter. Let's get on to the next question. We'll come back to it. Dan Conforte. Does NXT already have a better women's division with the 3 yet debut signees, Stephanie Vaquer? Yulia Delta also is Easy-E versus Tony Khan and Dave Meltzer in the works. I would take them both on at the same time. I would literally do a 2-on-1 handicap match. Bring it on. Somebody book it. That'd be fun. I'm almost 70 years old, and I would do it. And I'd have fun doing it. Might be ugly as hell to watch, but it'd be fun. Don't give me any ideas. I do stupid shit with ideas like this. I really do. I get myself in trouble. So I'm going to let it go at that. Thanks, Dan, for encouraging me to make a fool of myself. Sloppy Joe, E. If AEW doesn't get a TV deal with any network, do you think any wrestling promotion will ever get a national TV deal again? Okay, this is a really interesting point, and it's one of the reasons why I get as passionate about being critical. It's one of the reasons why over 2 years ago, when I first started pointing out some of the major flaws that I saw, when everybody thought I was just an old man yelling at the clouds and didn't know what I was talking about, it was no longer relevant, didn't understand the new product, blah, 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 fucking blah. But I was right, wasn't I? I predicted this. No growth equals death. Remember that, folks? You're either growing or you're dying. Does that sound familiar? It would if you were listening to me on 83 Weeks 2 years ago. So I talked about it, predicted it. You're either growing or you're dying. And here we are. We're on the table. The paddles are out. We're about ready. We want to make sure if life support is necessary that it's standing by. Get me a TV doctor stat. We're losing the patient. It's bleeding out of the table. And Tony Khan's looking for Band-Aids. I think it'll be really hard. And it's one of the reasons that I think when I've been critical, it's because there's so few opportunities to have the opportunity that Tony Khan and AEW had with TBS and what they've done with that opportunity, I think is going to make it extremely difficult for anybody to come down the road with a new idea to launch an alternative wrestling company. That's a fact. And you could thank Dave Meltzer. You can thank Tony Khan. You can thank all of the people that didn't want to listen to any criticism from anybody, whether it be me, Jim Cornette, or the fans. It's a shame, but I do think that that's a serious issue. If AEW doesn't get a renewal, first of all, I don't think they're going to be able to shop. If they sell that, if they're able to land on another network, it is going to be an obscure network. It'll be, what is it, Access TV or Access, whatever it is. It'll be on some obscure cable channel that nobody watches. Look at what happened to TNA, Dixie Carter's TNA. They went from Spike to whatever they went to next, to whatever they went to next, to gone. Again, going back to what I said earlier about no major network wants another network's sloppy seconds, particularly sloppy seconds that are underperforming in a category that's hard to sell. It's a really tough spot. Tony has booked himself. Tony Khan has booked himself in the greatest handicap match ever.